Hello, paper florists. Thanks so much for joining me. It is January 2021, and we are going to start off the year with a flower not too many of us, I think, have ever made before. That is the Carnation. I'm sure you've been following along on the prototypes that I've been working on, and I'm going to show them to you in order of how I did them, if I can. And the first one that I did was done with 180 gram crepe, and I have to tell you, I really like the shape of this one. I do want the petals to come down maybe a little more, so I might add a few more petals there, but this shape is right on. This one was my second one, I think. Yes, my second one. And it is made with with the new 90 gram crepe. And I have to tell you, I think the 90 gram is exactly what I want. But the shape on this one is, while it's good and it comes down a little bit more, it's not really what I want on the top. Then I tried to do some coloring, and I got a lot of positive vibes on this one, although I don't think it really is carnation-y enough. I think maybe more jagged cuts on the petals would have been in order. And then this is the one that I did most recently, and I would like to have the shape come down a little bit more, but these are all done with 90, except that first one. I think 90 is the answer. And then when I'm done, Christina's going to come in, and she's going to show you how to do this beautiful shading on the stem to finish that off. So let me put everything aside, and I'll bring everything out that we're going to need, and we'll make some carnations. Okay, so I'm back, and the reason for this video, by the way, is to show you some advanced cutting techniques, and I'm even going to show you a little bit of advanced coloring techniques as well. But what we're going to need for this particular bloom is a piece of, this is an 18 gauge wire, paper covered, so that's good. Got my handy dandy scissors. Obviously I needed my wire cutters for that. And then we're going to need some paper. So I made mine out of this 190 gram pink paper, and I think it's really pretty in that color. You can do it any color you want. I also have a piece of the 90 gram in the white as well. I'm going to show you how to color that. I'm in love with this green from this 90 gram green as well. So you can use whatever green that you like. So let's get started. Okay, so here we go. So I have a swatch here. It's about 6 inches wide of the pink 190. And we are just going to use this as it is, and then I'm going to come in and at the end and show you how to do some more color. So to start it, we're going to need, this is a 6-inch piece wide. It's more than enough, I think, to do the carnation, because there's a lot of petals in the carnation. And I'm going to start by cutting about 3 swaths of this at about 2 inches each. So we'll start with those. Okay, so we've got those cut. We're also going to prep our wire. And one of the things that I like to do for this flower is to create a little bulk on here so that we end up with our stem. So I come down about 1 inch or so and just loop it down and smush it together. There you go. Okay, another thing we're going to do is we're going to cover that wire. So if by chance any of it happens to show through, we are not going to see it. So I'm just going to cut a small piece of the paper and stretch it out. I've got my handy dandy glue right here. Stretch it out. We're probably going to need, we don't need, I mean, this paper stretches like crazy. We're probably going to need a piece about, this is about 14 inches. I may or may not use all of it, but let's just start by getting our wire prepped. And I'm going to go ahead and start at the bottom just to give it some anchor. And remember, a carnation has that bulbous part underneath it where all the petals are. So this is one way to kind of build that up from the beginning to get it started. So we're going to start getting some bulk on there now. Okay, now we're going to go back to our petals, and we're going to give this a good stretch. This is a piece, it's a little over 6 inches long, and I probably am going to stretch it till it's about 10 inches. I still want to have some stretch in it. There we go. Still want to have some stretch in it. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do this first round of petals. But what I forgot was I'm going to use some pinking shears for these. And I have a really tiny, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on camera, a really tiny pinking shears, and it works really great for this. But this first round of petals is going to be one continuous petal. So we're going to basically get this folded in a way that it's going to be easy to do. So I'm just going to fold this a couple of times. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hit the edges of this with the pinking shears. Put it away. Now, but this is going to be our strip. I'm going to show you how I'm going to turn this into a continuous petal. First thing we're going to do is cut the folded pieces, and we want to come down about and leave about 1/4 of an inch or so on that's uncut, that we're going to use to mount. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to just cut pieces, and these are probably about the width of your index fingernail. And these are going to be our first petals. Okay, and now we're going to round them off a little bit. And we're just going to come in and just give this a round. Go all the way through them this way. So you see, we're just going to end up with a little bit of pinking. Cut that through. There we go. And we're just going to cut each section. We're going to do one side, and then we're going to do the other side. I always find it's easier to cut this way. And the last one. And then we're going to flip it over ever so gently. And we're going to do the same thing to this side. And I can see on this one, I kind of missed it, so I'll go ahead and fix that. There we go. And now I'm going to make this one. So we just have that little bit of pinking that's on the edges. It's going to give us that frilly look. Okay, so we'll set that one down. Clear off the space. Let's move on to the next one. So we're going to need at least 2 of these, I think. Close enough. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pink the edges. And then we're going to come in and cut the folds. Both sides. And we're going to cut our pieces. Okay, we'll start here. Okay, sorry for the interruption, but we're just going to keep going here. And turn it over and do the same thing to the other side. This one isn't really as curved as I would like it to be, so I'll just come in and add some. And this one. And there we go. So we have those 2 done. So to prep these, what we're going to need is to take these strips And we're going to kind of frill them a little bit. And you'll see when you come in, there might be some that aren't really cut the way you like. And that's okay. Just come back in and change them up if you feel that it's not how you want it to be. And these, I mean, quite frankly, these, you're not going to see really much of these. You're just going to see the tips of them. There. Okay, so we're going to use our thumbnail and our forefinger to take every other petal. We're going to just run it down like this, and that's going to just break that up a little bit. And we're going to do it with every other petal. And you don't have to be exactly, it could be every 2 petals. It doesn't matter. Random is what makes this look so cool. Okay, then we're going to flip it over and do the same thing to the ones that we didn't do. So it means we're going to have petals going in both directions. Okay, so then we're going to take this and lay it out just like that. And we'll do the second one. Okay, we'll come in and do the other side. Now this side, I'd like to cut that a little bit more. There. Okay, there. Okay, so we're going to take these and we're going to put a pretty steady bead of glue all along here, because we're going to need that to pinch these petals together as we put them on. Let's see where I'm going here. There we go. Okay, so we'll just start with the first one. And what we're going to do is we want these to be packed pretty tightly on this wire. So as we put them on, we're going to just squish them up and just make sure you have them all the same length. Or same height, I guess I should say. So you stay even. And I just like take it and just pinch it. Just pinch them as you put them together. And just keep going. And the one thing about the carnation is it's got a lot of petals. And they just all kind of go together. It's very similar to making a marigold. Okay, so there's one. We want this to be really tight. Really tight. Then we'll take the second one and we'll do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to start where we left off and just Pinch them all together. You're just bunching them all up together as you go. Kind of an accordion as you go. And don't worry that it doesn't look like much yet, but we'll get there. Here we go. Now, I've got some glue on my fingers here, so I don't know how well I'm going to be able to hold that. Okay. So I can see that it's a little heavy on one side, so I'm just going to kind of trim that down just a little as we go. And this will be like, I think that the pinking on it looks best when it's sporadic. Just keep pinching that together really tight. See, you can have got it pretty tight on there. Okay. Now, one of the things we're going to break from here is, I don't know if you've ever noticed on a carnation, they have that little stigma that comes out of them. And you don't see it on every one, but you do see it. So I'm going to just cut just a small strip of this crepe. This is the weight that I cut. So I'm just going to stretch that out. Okay, and then I'm just going to take a piece. I'm going to take a piece about 6 inches or so. And this is going to be really long, and I'm just going to twist it. Create like a rope, like a thread. And I'll be able to do a couple of them with this one piece of crepe. And then we'll just keep going. I always moisten my hands a little. I find that it helps me grip the crepe a little bit better. Just and I don't know in nature how many they really have, but I put in 2 or 3. And if you feel that it's not sticking the way you want, put a little bit of glue on your finger and just do it that way, and you can get it super tight and it won't come undone. And we'll kind of curl those up, and I have enough glue here to do all of them. There. Okay, so now I'm going to clean that glue off my fingers. Okay, set that aside. Now we're going to take the first one of these, and like I said, we can play with these later or now, doesn't matter. I'm just going to grab something to kind of curl this. I like these to be kind of random, and I think these might be way too long. So let's just kind of put it on. Let's cut this down a little bit. And then there. And we're just going to take it and stick it in there so it just sticks out. So I'm going to put a little drop of glue here. And I'm going to attach this to it. There. See, you barely see it. We'll do another one. We can always cut them down if they're too long. There. Got out of frame there for a second. Sorry. You need to see it. See, it's just sticking out. And you kind of work it in there. And then here's our last one. I'm going to put this one over here. And I guess I still have glue on my fingers. There we go. I'm just going to leave them there like that for now. And we'll work those in as we go. But again, keep pinching this. You want this to be really tight. Really tight. Okay, so I'll set that down. So now we're going to move on to the rest of our 2-inch petals. Now we're going to be doing individual petals. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my 6 inches piece and take it to about 10 inches. That's about the right amount of stretch. And if you've seen any of my tutorials before, you know that I like to cut my petals, 3 at a time. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to pink these edges. Okay, so then we're going to unfold it and start doing our petals 3 at a time. And this is probably about 1/2 inch wide for these. These are the inner petals, so we're going to not make them too big. Okay, so we've got that little bit of pinking there. We're going to leave that there. And we're just going to cut this corner off and come down and make it real skinny. So you have a petal like this. So we'll just keep doing that. Let's get these done. And this paper has so much stretch to it that it won't be difficult to stretch these out. I don't know if I got cut all the way through those. There. And I like to do this in sections with my petals. Like, I like to do all the twos and then all the 2 1/2s. And I don't think I cut that one too wide. There we go. You want it to come down really skinny at the bottom because we're going to twist that bottom. And this is probably big enough for 4 petals. So just fold that in half one more time. And this is pretty much the way I cut all my petals. Okay, so there's 2s. And quite frankly, I think we're going to need one more strip of the 2-inch. Get rid of our scraps. Stretch this out. There we go. Again, we're going to pink. There we go. We're going to trim these too. Do the same thing. And you don't want them to be all exactly the same. Oops, the same. So cut them in random. So we're going to take these and set everything aside. Keep everything kind of neat. There we go. And we're going to start with these petals. Now, I'm going to take a really quick break here because I'm going to remove this glass mat because I think it might interfere with what you're seeing. It creates too much glare. So I'm just going to take that off, put those down, I moved my mat to my other table. There we go. So we're going to start with these. And we're going to do a couple of things here. We're going to flute these a little, and we're going to cup them. Cup them down low, flute them at the top, and then we're going to give them a twist. So we'll flute, and actually I think I don't have one here, and twist. And I'm going to put you on hold for just a second because I'm going to go get my glasses for this. Okay, so there we go. So I'm going to just continue to do that with all of these petals. Oops. Just give them a little flute. And you might take your scissors and have them flute back like that. You just give them a little flick with your scissors. And then I'm going to show you one more fun thing we're going to do. So, okay, so let's just keep on going. I didn't twist the bottom of this one or this one. See, this one's bigger, and this is what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to like flip that like that. And you need a little moisture on your, I keep licking my finger. You need a little moisture on your finger to get that to roll up. And let's just do this. Flute it this way. And just keep on going till you get all of these petals. And twist it. This one didn't get cut all the way through. So I'm going to just keep going, and you do the same, and we'll come back and finish, and we'll start applying these to the bloom. So finish up your petals, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've got them all done, and one last thing we're going to do before we put these on our bloom is we're just going to come in and do some random cuts, not to all of them, just to some of them, and this adds a little more flair to it. And you just, when you're doing it, you just really want to go down as far as your frills go. So like I said, we're not going to do all of them. We're going to do a portion. This is a big one, so we'll do that. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. Just cut without cutting your finger, like I just did. Okay, so we've got these, and we're going to lay them out, and we're going to put some glue on them. And I'll do 10 of them at a time, or 8 of them at a time. And don't worry if your little thing at the bottom, your little twist at the bottom has come undone. It's okay. Not to worry. Okay, so we'll do those. Start. Grab our bloom. Again, we want it really tight. Okay, and we're going to just start by putting these on There. And you don't want to go up. This is where we're going to start shaping it down. So, and just, you know, be random with these first ones. And if they come undone, just pinch them as you're putting them on the bloom. So we're just going to kind of do this. I think doing it from the side works for me. And you can see we're already starting to get that action on the side, which is what we want. We're just going to randomly place them. And again, just keep pinching this as you go. You want this to be really tight. You want all of these petals to be in there. Be really tight. There. So there's that portion. And just, again, keep pinching. You want this to be really tight in the center. So we'll do a bunch more. Okay, so I've got a bunch of them there. Let's put on what we've got. And again, just come in and keep pinching. Now, I have a tendency to want to do these from the underside rather than the overside. That way, I'm really focusing on where this petal is. Except I got glue on my fingers, which doesn't help. Some of these petals seem to be a little longer than the others. And that's okay. Pull that one up. Well, let's move on to another one. Let's put a different one there. There we go. And just kind of look where your gaps are. Over to this side. And it doesn't matter where the bottom of your petal is. What matters is how it lines up on the top, because we want this to start going out. That one is not happy. There we go. There's that one. Okay, there we go. Got a little glue on my finger. So we just want to keeping these in here really tight. Okay. And you see it's starting to look like a carnation. You see the little stigmas sticking out there. There's one there, one there. The other one's over here, it's kind of hidden. Okay, we'll go glue on the rest of these. And that one's got some on already. So the big thing about this particular bloom is its shape. It's not ball shaped. It's almost kind of cone shaped, I guess. Then we're going to switch to our longer petals. Go up a little bit. Again, every time you do this, keep coming in and pinching that together. Okay, and we want to make sure that we're starting to come down. And if it sits kind of cockeyed, that's okay. Not to worry. This is a little high. So if you see that they're not the shape you want it to be, you can come in and just this one, I'm going to get rid of these. Okay, so let's move on to our next row. Just keep pinching them together. Okay, now this one, we want to cut these at 2.5 inches. I'm going to use my ruler. No, 2.25. Okay, so I cut 2 of these at 2.25 inches tall. Remember, we're going to have that bulbous part at the bottom, so this helps to build that up. Okay, this is a stretch. And then we're going to pink the edges. And cut out the petals. And these, start getting random on these. Some are going to be fat, some are going to be skinny. A little fatter here. And this is our typical teardrop size petal, which so many blooms have petals like this shape. Do the second batch. And you don't have to pink them. If you have Tiffany Turner's book, I know she has a carnation in there. And she doesn't use pinking shears on them. She cuts them randomly by hand, which I don't have the patience for. She's obviously got more patience than I do. So we do the same thing with these as we did before. And I'm thinking that it's best to use your scissors to create those little furls. And we just twist the bottom. I think this paper is perfect for this. So I'll go ahead and do all these, and I'll be right back when we're done. Okay, so we have this next set of petals done, and I'm just going to come in and the same thing we did before. I'm losing my voice, sorry. Same thing we did before, and give them some glue. And this is one bloom where more glue is a little bit better than not enough. And we always walk that fine line. See, and I want this to start coming down. So I'm going to come in like this. And we're going to, whoops, that did not want to go on there, did it? Here, we'll do this one instead. You know, I keep picking up these ones that don't have glue on them. And you just want to keep being mindful of the shape that you're building, because you want this to start really going out. Pinch it in there. Oh, one of the things we didn't do, we need to do, is cut a few little cuts in there. And I think I want to like get a few more pink pieces in there while I'm at it. Okay. Just keep going. And your petals are going to start coming down from this is one time where you're going to have some what I call creep, blossom creep, and where you have a tendency to like come down your stem. But in this particular case, that's what we need, right? And again, I didn't trim any of these, so we could just come in and randomly do that. It works for me. Kind of look for your gaps here. We're always looking for our gaps. Okay, so we're going to put glue. We're going to go ahead and cut some of these. And you can do one or two. It's up to you. And they don't need to be deep cuts. Okay, so let's put glue on these. And I told you these have a lot of petals, and they do. I don't know how many petals. Has anybody counted how many petals we put on? I don't know. I think in the end, we're probably going to have 60 to 70 on here. At least. I would think. I can put a lot of glue on, or glue a lot of petals, because I do work fast. If you don't work as fast as I do, just don't put as much glue on there. And I do kind of like the glue to like set a little bit. So you can see the more you pinch, it's going to start pulling down. That's what we want it to do. So we're just going to, like there. Seems I have glue on my fingers. And we're just going to kind of keep going around. Yeah, I have glue on my fingers and causing myself a little heartache on that. Okay, come back over here. Just keep going. See, I have glue on my hands, so it doesn't want to stick. Keep working your way around. Yep, my hands are sticky. So when we cut the next batch of petals, it'll give this a chance to dry. So it doesn't stick so much to my fingers. I'm just pulling it right off because I do have too much glue on my fingers. I try to use a different finger to put it on there with, but it's not always, doesn't work out that way all the time. Okay, so we're gonna come in here and we're just gonna pinch and let that one go. And we'll put this one in here. Put it this way. So you can see we're coming down the stem here a little bit. Okay. So the last ones we did were 2 1/4. These are going to be 2 1/2. And I'm hoping we'll be able to get everything we need out of here, but we may have to cut just one more swath. But let's see how it goes. I'm having a hard time with that. There we go. These scissors are really stiff. And they're big and heavy, and they're really stiff. Not the easiest, things to work with. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to cut these the same way we did before. You can make some of them a little bigger. This one. So these don't have any color on them. I showed you some of that white paper that I had. And I'm going to do that with some color on it. This would be really cool. Same thing with these. Nothing's changed. So we want to just really furl these out. And we will put some cuts in these as well. Here, I like to lay them out so that when I put when I'm going to glue them, they'll all lay out together. So I'll just keep doing this, and you keep doing yours, and I'll come back when this part's done. Okay, so we are back. I've got all my petals cut. There's 20 petals here, so I'm just going to come in here and just randomly cut some of these. Okay, so we'll do 5 at a time. Okay, so this had a chance to dry a little bit, then I don't have any glue on my hands. So we're going to start working this down, and we're just going to keep going. Let's see where we're going to start. Start right here. Pinch it on. Okay. You can see when you look at it how it's getting wider. We want it to keep coming down. So we're actually pulling these petals down further on the wire. And you can see how we're building up that piece on the bottom too at the same time. So let's see where we need to fill in. Let's try over here. Okay. You can just kind of pinch it when it goes on. Yeah, I got wet glue again. I don't know what I'm doing that I'm getting all this glue, because those are just not staying on. Those are coming off with my finger. Here we go. There. And this is probably a good time to start doing this from the underside. I hope that you enjoyed seeing Wendy's Carnation. The paper that Wendy introduced me to that she was using in New Zealand was a very unruly paper. It has like no stretch, and the fact that she can make those pretty blooms out of it is pretty amazing to me. I'm going to go ahead and glue up all of these. There we go. Okay. And always keep coming back in and pinching this down. Let's see, where do we want to start? I'll start here. Here. And just keep going around and around. That one sticks out quite a bit too, so you can always just cut it away. What you don't like. And we are indeed going to need another set of petals. It's still a little wonky here, but it's getting there. And there's a gap there. Okay, we're still going to keep pressing. I'm going to let this dry just a little bit, and I'm going to grab another stretch of paper. Okay, I'm going to cut some 2.5. Okay, let's see. We're in the home stretch here. And then Christina is going to follow up with some, her foliage that she made is just amazing. And I'll say this once again, if you enjoy our tutorials, please let us know. One of the ways you can do that is by liking this video and subscribing to our video channels, our YouTube channels. And that's how we know that you're enjoying our tutorials. go. And I'm going to actually cut some of these down just a little bit. Make them look a little more pinked. So, just for some, randomness. Okie doke. See, I didn't do it to all of them, but some of them, a little more. There. Okay, so we are going to do the same thing that we've done before. Just to, and we're going to just, these last ones too, I really like to frill this out. Give it some real body. This one doesn't look like it's pinked at all, so let's just make it that way. Okay. And you want a lot of variation in your petals. We didn't do a dissection on this bloom, which would probably be really interesting to do. If you kind of pull it out to the side like that, you get a more frilly looking petal. See how this one's really square? I'm going to round that off a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I don't want to make it look contrived, so random is good. I have 2 petals in there. There we go. To the side. See how it's really craggy looking there? That's really what you want. One is not good at all. See, I really like this 90-gram paper for this. You could use any paper really that you like, but this just has a feel like petals to it that I love. Okay, and then we're going to come back in with our scissors and just do some random cuts. And you can see how your fluting was there. That's where you're going to do it, is right along where your flute is. I already did this one, no? Get that one. Oh, this one right there. Okay. Oh, I have a couple more here. I do. I'm going to turn that. And the more you can, one of the things that I tell people all the time is if you can, when you use the back of your scissors, see how little these are? This is good. Oh, I tore that one. Oh, what? The more you use the back of your scissors on your petals, the more you break down that paper, and it seems to want to work with you a lot better. I'll do these first 10. Okay, so we want to get in here and keep coming down and just look at where you are and where you might be missing something. This is getting hard to... So let's see where we want to fill this in a little bit. Right there. Just keep looking at it from the top. And then what I do too is once I have the shape like I like it in the first kind of petals on there, I'll come in and just randomly. That's too high. Okay, it's still too high. There we go. It does not want to go up more. There we go. And just kind of feeling, you can see I kind of come out over here, and I might just fix that. And then look at it from here and see where I need some petals. I'm going to go I just have way too much glue on my hands here. Try this one instead. I'm trying to see the glue. There we go. Got glue there. Just want to fill that in. Oh yeah. See, you can see it's coming together now. Now you could make a dianthus, which is a small carnation, by just doing like half of the petals. This one's big. It's bigger than the run-of-the-mill one that you would see. But I have a tendency to go big. Okay, glue the rest of it. Put some glue on the rest of these. This one supposedly has glue on it, but I couldn't get it to stick. There we go. There. Okay. Now we're just going to take a look at this from here and look and see where we look sparse. And I'm saying over here we could use a couple. And just lay it on there. Well, maybe lay it on there. There we go. for the gaps. And we're just going to fill in what we've got here. I think we're just about there. See, that one wasn't folded up, so I just pinched it along the bottom there. Same thing here. Pinch it. And then I just have a couple more, so I'll just randomly go where I'd like to put those. And the last one, put right here. Okay, so my suggestion to you is to let this dry for a little while. And give it a pinch now and let it dry for like 5 or 10 minutes. And then come in and we'll do that some more. And Christina will come in and make the foliage. But I'm going to come back and show you an advanced coloring technique to try as well. So you can see our shape has come around. And we'll adjust that shape a little more. But just come back in and pinch these together as you go along. You want to keep it tight. Just keep doing that. As you do that, the petals will come down a little, and that's really kind of what you want on here. And another thing I might do, we can do that, is take another piece of this and just twist it like we did before. And let's put a little glue on here just to hold it all together. Okay, and we'll make a kind of curly Q. And cut the bottom of it off and put a little glue on it. This is how Tiffany does hers, is she brings these in afterwards. You can see that was really long, so we're just going to shove it in there. We're going to cut it off right about there. See, so we have more. We could do another one. Smooth it out a little bit. What is that? This bottom. There we go. So, again, a little glue on it. Curl this a little. There we go. You could just stick it right in here. And then cut that off about there. Okay, and you can see that in there. There we go. Probably do a couple more, but we're not going to mess with it now. Let's let this dry a little bit, and then I'll come back in and show you how to shape this a little bit. So just let it sit, and I'll be back with finishing it up and before I hand it off to Christina. Okay, so I wanted to finish up with you. I did come back in and I pinched this until I got this really pretty shape with it. You can always come in with your shears and trim it down a little bit. You can see our little stigma that we added in there. So I think this adds a really pretty realness to this. And then I just kind of pull it down a little bit because carnations are like that. I went ahead and finished mine, but Christina's coming up next, and she's going to show you how to do the beautiful foliage and how to get some beautiful colors on it. I just finished mine quickly, so I didn't do the coloring on it. But thanks so much for joining us, and I wanted to ask you once again that if you enjoy our videos, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channels. That's how we know that you enjoy what we bring to you. So I'm going to hand it off to Christina, and I'll see you back here with some really cool coloring techniques.